and always be seen as man and wife fulfilling.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Before you say I do, and what to do if you already said yes. And we're talking about non-personal factors that shape our relationships. And by relationships, we're talking about male-female relationship. And we are on religion. Go ahead, and you're going to quote another hadith.
Yeah, in one of the hadiths is that people came to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and said, "Oh, Prophet of Allah, we want to do sujood to you." So Prophet Muhammad said, if there was a provision to go for sujood for anybody else than Allah, it should be women going for sujood to husband.
Okay. Have you heard this hadith before? Yes. If I were to command anybody to make sujood, to prostrate in front of anybody, it would be what? I would have commanded a wife to make sujood or to prostrate for her husband. You think that this is misused? How about the other hadith that says, women are deficient in what? In their religion and in their intellect. Okay? When these statements are taken out of context, what happens? They will definitely be misused and abused by others. And as such, they will reflect on the type of conception that we have on male-female relationship. There is also the notion of racism. What is racism? Racism, or color is part of it. But racism is when we assign a specific value to a person on the basis of their biology. Because color is part of their biology. So what we do is that we assign a value to a person on the basis of biology. So what happens is that we will take white Europeans as the paradigm or as a yardstick. The closer you are to being like white, to being like European, what happens? The better you are, the more successful you become. Or even, that's the way you feel about yourself becomes what? Becomes inflated. And that is why that's really funny. If you look into most of the images that people have of Jesus, peace be upon him, even though we do not believe in them, what did Jesus look like? He's usually what? A white man, he's tall, and he's blonde, and he's blue-eyed. Okay? Now what happens if a white man, if I am a white man, what do I think? One of two things. Either God looks like me, or I look like God. And can you imagine what would that do to me? Okay? But see, what happens is this, how does racism play in our male-female relationship? I have Muslims who come to the masjid and they say, I am looking for a girl for my son. I say, okay, that's fine, inshallah, will help you. Tell me about her. Say, she has to be fair-skinned. That is such a common request that I get. And mind you, they're talking to a black man. So they come and they say, we're looking for a fair skin to marry our daughter. Why don't they say, we're looking for somebody good? They say that, but when do they say this? Later on. The most important is what? Woman has got to be white. The woman's got to be fair skin. But why is this? Because now we have been conditioned, being taught, we're bombarded with the idea that, you know what? Beauty is in what? Is in color. The closer you are to white Europeans, the more beautiful you become. What happens if you're not white? People try to become white. They either bleach themselves, or they make themselves blondies, they put in color lenses and what have you. But now because we've been given definitions of beauty that are based on racism, that are racist in origin, yet we take these definitions and we use them, and they do have an impact on our male-female relationship, the way we view others. And that becomes very disgraceful, and it becomes very despicable. Yet that is something that we cannot skip. Some people can say, well, you know what? I watch TV, but it does not affect me. I say, that's fine. You are kidding yourself. What do you take when you have a headache? Would you go to the pharmacy and buy medicine that you have not seen an ad for on TV? Most people don't do that. What do they buy? Something that they saw on TV. Tylenol. We buy Tylenol because you know what? It was on TV. We've seen it on TV. And that's what people do. You may choose to reject it, but you cannot escape it, people. It is there all the time. We can choose to reject, but we cannot escape from all these non-personal factors. Okay? Would you say that people are racist? Of course they are. Give an example. One time, I was not feeling well, so the doctor said, go get a blood test. Sometimes when people get tired, there might be something with their thyroid. So I went there, and I remember I went to the nurse, and I said I would like to get a blood test. And this is in California, in Southern California, where most people there are white. So she immediately saw me and she said, but we don't do HIV or AIDS testing in our center. Why did she make that statement? Why did she make that statement? What did she see in me? Exactly. She saw a black man, young, in college, good looking, and why are you laughing? Okay? So she saw this, and she immediately, what does she assume? What does she assume? Oh, he must be here to get an AIDS test. On what basis? What gave her that impression? The color of your skin. So as we're being racist, not only are we assigning value to people, but we're also stereotyping people. And as such, what do we say? Oh, we want a fair skin for my daughter, I want a fair skin for my son, and it just goes on that way, and that is very sad. Okay? And then there is capitalism. Okay? What is capitalism about? It's about, now in racism, the value is biological. In capitalism, the value is what? Monetary. You have money, what happens? You know how they say money talks? It really does talk. What does it do? It assigns to people virtues that they don't have. It really does. It assigns to people virtues that they do not possess. Oh, he's so smart. He's really dumb, but he's rich. In reality, that person is dumb, but he's the dumb person with lots of money. But what do we say about them? Oh, they're very smart. They may be. But then sad part about capitalism is when it assigns to people virtues that they do not deserve, neither do they have. Yet we assign them these virtues. On what basis? How much cash and how much money do they have on them? How does this play in our male-female relationship? In marriage, what do we look for? Somebody who is rich. No? People go crazy from people who come from a rich family, and somebody is considered to marry what? A poor person. Immediately, what is the idea? Marriage won't work, or they are in it because of your money, as if everybody is after that money of yours. But then again, what happens is that even when we are up there, what are we looking for? People from within a same socioeconomic status that we are. Okay? Just going back to the idea of racism, 2003, 70% of Japanese women in the US married non-Japanese men. That's a high percentage. So if you are a Japanese woman, your chances of getting married are what? They're really good. If 70% of you are willing and they are getting proposals from non-Japanese men, then that's good news. That same year, only 2% of African American women got married to non-African American men. What does that tell you? People may have their own preference and no problem. But what does that tell you? What does that reflect? Japanese women, 70% of them got married to non-Japanese men, yet only 2% of African American women, they got married to a non-African American man. So what happens is that now we're only to look for those who are like us. You know, it gets funny in the US when people come in and they want, they want a girl for their son who comes from where? Not from the same country, but what else? From the same province, from the same city, from the same village, preferably from the same street that they grew up in. They get so very specific, as if nobody is good but these kind of people. And of course that is not acceptable. And then there is sexism. Similar to racism and similar to capitalism, where we assign value to people on the basis of their biology or the basis on their material, also in sexism we assign value to people on the basis of what? Their gender. You know, interestingly, if a man and a woman are hired to do the same job, and they do the same job, perfectly fine, chances are the man will get a better salary than the woman. Even though the job is done the same. It does not matter who's doing it. Yet, a man will get a better salary than a woman. Why? We practice this. Almost at any given day, this is what we look into, and this is what we practice. Now, people may have their non-personal factors. But remember that as far as these non-personal factors are concerned, sometimes we're not even paying attention to it. They do have an impact on us, and we don't pay attention to it. Remember one time, and maybe I can do this with the brothers right now. So please, if you would participate in this, please close your eyes. And I promise not to punch you on the face. Go ahead. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Okay? And now I want you to, for those of you who are single, just the girl of your dreams. Open your eyes. What country does she come from? When we do this exercise, you ask questions that people really do not, you start imagining, what kind of a person did you see? Okay? Now, so that nobody is left out, do me a favor, everybody, just close your eyes. Okay? Sisters as well. Imagine that you are in your house, and you hear a sound going on downstairs, and you feel that there is a burglar downstairs. So you go downstairs, and you see the burglar. They have a mask on their face. You call the police, and somehow the police manages to come and get the burglar, and the burglar is caught. Open your eyes. What did you see? How many of you saw a man? That the burglar was a man? How many of you saw a woman as a burglar? But do you see what happens? Why do we assume this? Do women steal? They do. But what happens? Why are we thinking this way immediately? It's funny because sometimes even if your house is robbed, how does the police and the people start talking? Well, he probably came from the window. Why is it a he? It could have been a woman, but we say, oh, he probably came from the window. Could have been a she. But then again, we automatically say what? He probably came from the window. So anyways, our time is almost over, but these were some of the non-personal factors that shape our relationship as far as male-female relationship is concerned. Okay, so inshallah with this we come to the conclusion to this part of our program. We're glad that you've joined us, and inshallah we hope that you will join us again. Until we meet next time, we say so long, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.